All right, guys, we are live. This is the Shillan and Duffy recap show for UFC Houston. I am your host. My name is Keith Shillan. My main man, Ben Duffy, could not make it tonight because he is a Houston native. He is in attendance right now, probably chatting up with Sean Strickland. He also has the great Jay Pettry by his side. So Sherdog is in full force at the Toyota Center in Houston. So I said to myself, all right, I need a replacement. I got to get the main guy. I said, Sean Strickland's fighting. What can I do? Well, if I'm going to talk about Sean Strickland, I got to find the most conservative people I can find. And that means I got to go to Utah and I got to get my main man, Dayne Fox. Dayne, how you doing, brother?
Always happy to be here. I'm apologize to everybody for being the B side because I know that Ben is the man, and we hate to break up the devilishly delightful duo of Keith and Ben, but always happy to fill in, and hopefully we can be informative and entertaining.
Yeah, I haven't. Me and Ben, we've been man, I'd say about 3-4 months now, man. We have missed different things going on in life. Some housekeeping things, I'll say. Unfortunately, there was no preview show for this card. I was traveling. I was at a softball tournament with my oldest daughter in Florida. I don't know what Ben had going on, but actually, that's not true. We actually did tape it, and it was put out. YouTube did something wrong because, shockingly, me and Ben actually got every single pick right for this card, and unfortunately, it got deleted. So, I was obviously, I don't know what Ben was going on when we usually tape, but he's been at the UFC since Wednesday doing all that behind the scenes stuff. I was in Florida with my oldest daughter. One thing I do want to talk about real quick before we get into the event. First of all, I'm a little under the weather. I was at a wrestling tournament all day, man. That's just the time of year. But also, so when I think of hobbies, when I think of pastimes, MMA is my top choice. It's my number one hobby. MMA is, at the end of the day, is just entertainment. That's what it's there for. It's, people say it's an escape from the real world, obviously there's some wonderful things in the world, but there's some terrible things in the world. And I want to talk about something terrible real quick. And the reason I want to talk about something terrible, because I love, sharing who I am with the listeners. And I had some listeners graciously reach out to me this week. On Monday, while I was in Florida, my phone started blowing up, and it was my supervisor. People who don't know, I'm a detective in Rhode Island, and my supervisor immediately texted our detective chat. So it's just the detective division, not the entire department. And he said, "Everyone come in right now. Active shooter at Lynch Arena. This is not a drill." This is the second time in 2 months that I've had to speak about this in my area. The first time was the next city over, Providence, about 5 minutes. It touches our city at Brown University. This time it was at my actual department. The people who responded, last time the people responded was my department and other departments too, but this time the people who investigated, the first people on scene was my department. My good friends, some of the detectives, my best friends. Luckily, I was in Florida with my oldest daughter. I didn't have the responsibility to come in. I had a little FOMO because when shit like this happens, you want to be with your brothers and your sisters. But unfortunately, I don't want to get too political, but it was a terrible situation. 3 people died. One a 18-year-old hockey player who was at the hockey arena. It's supposed to be his senior night to celebrate his last hockey game, and he was murdered. And then there's 3 more people I'm praying for that are still in the hospital fighting for their life. The good news, and I know there's not a lot of good news, but the good news is there was 2 guys, and this is the humanity coming in. There was 2 guys who were there right behind the shooter who jumped in and started wrestling the shooter once they realized what was going on, put themselves in danger. One guy pretty old, elderly guy. And if it wasn't for those two men, there could have been more people dead. So those are the people I'd rather talk about than the piece of shit who murdered people. Anyways, but I just saying that because people reached out to me. Obviously, it's my city. So it's an arena that I've worked details at. I sat there and I've been that police officer. And in this situation, there wasn't as far as I know, there wasn't a detective or wasn't a officer as a detail. Anyways, I just wanted to point that out. Just because the listeners reached out to me, and I don't know. It just felt weird if I just jumped on air and pretend like I didn't have I didn't have a heavy heart this week. Anyways, back to the fun stuff, the stuff to get to escape from that. I know you were very close to a situation that I may have been the last time or one of the last times you were on here. So, unfortunately, that's the world that we live in. We think we have, take a strong Strickland. Some people don't like him. Some people think he's a bad guy because of his political views. Because, listen, he says stuff to get people riled up. But at the end of the day, he's not a bad person. Bad people are the people who murder an 18-year-old kid and his mother and shot other people. And those are real bad people. But anyways, let's talk about this. Good.
Kind of along those lines, man. You're saying that Strickland isn't a bad dude. I think the true character of Sean Strickland comes out more after the fights, and you heard him say that he's jealous of people like Hernandez. He's got a wife, he's got a kid, stuff like that. I think that's more reflective of the type of person that Strickland is. But he also knows that if he wants to be getting attention, if he wants people to be following him, i.e., if he wants to be making money, he's got to be riling up the people. And so I think that's why he does it. I'm 100% with you in the sense that Strickland's not a bad dude. He says a lot of things that I disagree with, but at the same time, I know why he's doing it, and I can let it roll off my back in that sense. So, you said, MMA's here for entertainment purposes. Let's keep that in mind, even if there are people who do distasteful things. We watch the sport for the entertainment factor of it, and if you take joy in seeing somebody that you think is pretty disgusting lose, enjoy that. Yeah, let's not be violent towards one another.
Yeah. So Sean Strickland had a perfect week. Perfect in the sense he gets on the mic, he says things. To me, I'm like so numb to what Strickland says because it's whatever. Like it's Sean Strickland.
Exactly.
That's how I feel. But he knows what he's doing. He gets people that I will openly say more liberal than I am. I'm not a very liberal person. I'm a very conservative person, but he'll get a Luke Thomas upset. He'll get other people in the media. He'll get attention from, I saw Vanity was talking about him this week and how the UFC should cut ties with him. And that's exactly what he wants because he was the attention for the week. He's the intention of the division. When you think about the takeout Chimaev, not a lot of guys, crunching the numbers to see Anthony Hernandez or Imavov or Brandon Allen or whoever is in the division. There's not a lot of marketable guys. So he gets attention. He either you're one side of the world who think he's funny and you like what he says, or I should say one side. There's probably about three categories when it comes to Sean Strickland. You either have the one that you think he's funny and you laugh at it and you're like, yeah, the NFL's gay, yeah, whatever, women can't fight, ha ha ha. Then you have, and I'd say there's probably 10 to 15% of those who watch. Then you got 10 or 15% who get so offended by it. Oh my God, he's a stain on MMA. He's a stain on the UFC. Dana White needs to cut him. This is terrible. He's and then I think pretty much all the rest of us, 70, 80% of us are like, yeah, whatever. Strickland says stuff. Who cares? It's kind of old now. It's kind of like when Kobe Covington says things. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of old now. Like, whatever. Cool. That said, he got enough people talking about him. And why it was a perfect week, he actually backed it up in the cage.
Yeah.
Something and I think that to me is why it kind of starts getting on deaf ears when you talk, you don't back it up. Like when he talked, I'm like, all right, he's going to get smashed by Adesanya. And then he came out and knocked out Adesanya. Like, holy shit, this guy could be a megastar. And then he talked against Duplessis and it did nothing, especially in that second fight, that it was just like, oh my God. But tonight, I mean, Sean Strickland got a stoppage, a 3rd-round stoppage over Anthony Hernandez in the main event. In his last 12 fights, how many stoppages do you think he has? Last dozen fights. Stoppage wins.
Okay. 3?
2. His last stoppage win was a KO over Abus Nurmagomedov.
Okay. I was trying to gauge whether or not the Brandon Allen fell within the 12. So
it was so funny because at one point Michael Bisping's like, the thing about Michael Bisping goes, the thing about Sean Strickland, when he has you hurt, he's gonna go in, he's not gonna let you, he's gonna find a finish. And I'm like, since when? And then he mentions Adesanya, and then he goes, yeah, when he knocked Adesanya, and then he's like, well, he didn't stop him, but he did punch him a lot or something like that. I'm like, but that said, Sean Strickland got a finish over Anthony Hernandez. If someone told me, now I wasn't one of these like, oh my God, Anthony Hernandez is going to kill him. I wasn't one of these, oh, Hernandez is overrated, Strickland's going to style on him. But if you gave me an option, if you gave me someone wins by 3rd round, TKO, I would have said, oh my, you told me this an hour ago. I would have said, oh my God, Strickland is that, like, he's really that shot, and Hernandez just went off on him. Yeah, that's what I would have guessed.
I would have been with you.
I mean, this is his best showing since he beat Adesanya, no?
Oh, easily. The other win that he's had since then was against Paulo Costa, and Strickland didn't necessarily look bad in that fight, but I think it's more that Costa just didn't show up, and Strickland did what he needed to do more than anything. So, this was easily his best win or best performance since the Adesanya fight by far.
Yeah, and honestly, if you really talk about it, and I didn't go bold enough by saying this is the best win since on. It's probably his 2nd best win of his career. Adesanya is the number 1, and he didn't get the stoppage, but I think the stakes, who it was at the time. I mean, I guess you can go way back to Brandon Allen. I mean, while he was coming up on the scene, stuff like that. But I mean, a lot of his wins. I mean, Costa was split decision. That shouldn't have been a split, but that was a split decision.
The Imavov win was good, but it's a win that's getting better with age, and I don't think Imavov was quite Imavov yet. So
yeah, that's that. I think that's a perfect way to say it. Which I was really impressed with Strickland is, I mean, he was able to dictate the way this fight went. To me, Hernandez. And I don't know if it was what Strickland was doing or if it was how Hernandez was reacting, or a little bit of both. But if you told me someone threw 15 punches before the other guy threw 1, I would have been like, oh my God, Strickland really is gun shy. And it was the other way around. Strickland was just jabbing. It was 30 seconds in. He already hit him with 10 jabs.
Yeah.
He that's a good question. We'll get I want to bring this up. That's a good question. I'm going to bring that up later. I just want to give Iman report. I'm going to put a note for that. If I don't think it will happen, but I think he should consider it. But we'll get into that. But he's jabbing. He's throwing enough power shots just to keep him a little, honest. He's throwing teep kicks up the middle. And I think Dean Thomas, I hope Dean Thomas never jumps on the commentary because he's so perfectly what he does. I think they should use him much. I think he should come in every round, not, like I start of the first 30 seconds of every round, but instead of like once a fight. But he was saying like how Strickland just keeps you busy. He, jabbing in front of you, never really gets you going. And then all of a sudden half the round's over. And he said that. I look, it is like 2 minutes left in the second round. I'm like, dude, he just summed up this whole round perfectly.
Yep.
And that's what Strickland was doing. Hernandez never really got going.
Yeah. No, I think part of Strickland seemed to be in Fluffy's head. And, I think that was by design, a lot of that trash talk that he was throwing out there. Fluffy is not the type that usually gets riled up. And he got riled up before this fight. And I thought that was going to work to Strickland's advantage. I still picked Fluffy in the end just because I'm like, I don't know if Strickland has that desire, but holy crap, did he ever prove me wrong, and that's something else that I think people tend to forget. McGregor won a lot of his fights even before they happened because he got into people's heads. Like his fight with Aldo,
Yeah.
That was 100% won before the fight happened. I mean, we didn't know it at the time, but
Poirier
it was
the first fight with Poirier.
Exactly. And I think that's exactly what Strickland was doing here with Fluffy as well. Like Fluffy did not look like Fluffy. I think that played a big part of it, and he didn't have the same motor that he usually has either. And again, you get the adrenaline rushing, you get the emotion rushing through you and stuff like that. You're not going to have the same energy level that you normally have when you're calm, cool, and collected. Because we didn't really see Fluffy push the type of pace that he likes to push. I mean, there were inklings of it, but it was definitely not the Fluffy that we've come to know over the last couple of years. So I think Strickland got him that way.
I always think of the pressure fighters as guys like soldiers on a battlefield. And it's always constantly, generally speaking, the people who are advancing are winning the battle. And I'm putting myself way back in time, but I think about the Revolutionary War. He was fighting like a Revolutionary War. He kept coming forward, but it was that like slow pace, take a step, fire, and Strickland's just firing right back. So he's having this like musket fight going back and forth, and that's not his game. Strickland's throwing a jab and he's trying to counter him with like a one overhand right or I'm thinking like, dude, you got to throw a combination. You got to go body, head. You got to be storming the beaches of Normandy. Those guys aren't walking. You got to be you got to be in their face and running. And I think that's one thing he had. And the thing is, Strickland gave him opportunities. Strickland was circling. And then when he was going for takedowns, he just would like reach with his arm. I'm like, dude, you got to shoot. At one point, he like shot into like double underhooks. And I'm like, even if you were missing stuff, having Strickland have to work more at a pace that he's not comfortable with. Any success Hernandez had was when he had him against the cage and he threw a big flurry, threw 4 or 5 punches.
Yep.
One part he buckled him with like an uppercut. And that's when he was having success. The other thing he kept doing, and I don't know if you caught this, when he was trying to avoid Strickland's jab, he kept pulling his head backwards. And because of that, every time he took one step forward, by pulling himself backwards, all his weight would go back to his foot. And it was almost like he lost that, like if he took one step forward, he lost like 9 inches back. So he wasn't getting the ground. What he had to do is slip and slip to the side and come in with a combination. Now, again, I'm not going to pretend I'm a better striker than Anthony Hernandez or anything like that, but it wasn't working.
It's easy to be an armchair quarterback. I'll be the first to admit that's 100% me. But no, I agree 100% with you on that. Like, I see a lot on the comments that no, Strickland beat him by having a good game plan. Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that.
Oh yeah,
Strickland.
absolutely.
Yeah, no, I just Strickland builds. He builds upon everything that he does. He is not a stupid fighter by any means. I know a lot of people like to say that he is stupid based on all that, but he tends to beat people with the most basic of fundamentals. And what's even funnier, I remember Dev and Ben pointed this out in the preview show. His knees are basically shot from that motorcycle accident that he had. They were talking about the possibility of having to amputate his leg after that. He can't wrestle very much. It's almost by accident that he became as limited as he is, but it's the best accident that ever happened to him in that sense. Just because he had to focus on the fundamentals, and there is nobody better at those types of fundamentals than he is. And he forces people to fight his fight. That's exactly what happened with Fluffy, just masterful.
Yeah, he never shot in as like and force Strickland to have to sprawl, to have to hit a whiz or anything like that. He was wrestling him like I constantly wrestle like my middle daughter. Like I'll see her in the kitchen, I'll just grab her like underhooks on her. I'm not really going for a takedown on her, but I just kind of mess around with her. No, like I was at a wrestling tournament. You gotta shoot, do something. I like what Iman Report said. Throw a body kick. How about kick his jab hit? Kick him stop blasting the hand that he's jabbing with. Do something different. But just trying to slip to the side and counter over the right. Sean Strickland's gonna be away from that every single time. That overhand, that counter, like slipping overhand right was never there.
Yeah.
So the division is in a really weird situation. Obviously, Chimaev is the champion. Chimaev defends the title like as many times as me and Ben actually do a show together. In the last 6 months. I know this. This talks about him possibly going up to 205 and with the whole heavyweight division being on flux and Pereira possibly going up, and then that leaves 205, and who knows? Let's not get into that. I know there's some weird website saying it's done deal. Chimaev fighting for the vacant title against Yuri, and I've seen it against Olberg and all kinds of stuff. Let's just keep Chimaev in the division. Did Sean Strickland do enough tonight to earn a title shot? Because I don't know about you, but when me and Ben were talking about people next in line for title shots, it was an argument for Imavov and an argument for Hernandez. Did Strickland do enough to jump Imavov?
I'm going to say no, because I think winning streaks need to mean something. At this point, Strickland's looked good, but he's only won 2 of his last 4, whereas Imavov has won 5 or 6 in a row. I can't remember the exact number, but he's on a streak. And granted, the last guy that did beat him was Strickland, but still, that was several years ago. Strickland's been the champ, and he's had an opportunity to regain the belt. Let's get some fresh blood into the title picture. I stick with Imavov at this point. And then if you want to throw Strickland into a title eliminator or something like that, while Imavov hopefully gets a title shot soon, okay, I'm totally game with that. But Imavov should have gotten the shot ahead of Chimaev in my book. Didn't happen, and thus we're still waiting for Chimaev to ever defend it. I figured the UFC might end up regretting putting Chimaev as the champion, given the inactivity issues. And oh boy, I hate to say that I feel like I'm right at this point.
Unfortunately, they have him. They also have, Makhachev doesn't fight as much as you'd like. Obviously, I give Aspinall a pass. You know what I mean? That's a freak injury, and
I'm with you.
Right. But unfortunately, that situation's happened. I know Mackenzie Dern is now the champion at strawweight, but for a long time, Weili Zhang was the champion, or Zhang Weili is the champion, and she wasn't. She was fighting once a year. So they've really had. That's why we're seeing cards right now headlined by interim titles, by BMF titles, and I think Josh Van Tyra is going to headline that card that they announced.
I think so too.
Which we won't. I think that's an incredible fight, but we're the hardcores. That's regular fans aren't.
They've got us. Yeah, they've got us, and
cater to me. I'm watching no matter what.
Exactly, and it hurts them that Merab isn't the champ anymore. Not because he was a superstar or anything, but hey, Merab, you want to defend in 2 months? Yeah, you bet. So, from what I understand, Jan's out with surgery right now as it is too. So that might not be until like August or something. I don't know. So UFC's in a sticky situation right now.
Yeah. And then you have Volkanovski, who's up there in age, and he will defend the title and everything, but he's not defending the title at the same pace he was his first run. And can you really go that well at his age anymore as it is?
Yeah.
So this is where we're going to disagree. Imavov definitely deserves the title fight. Chimaev versus Imavov is the deserving fight. I will watch it, obviously, but you don't cater to me. You don't cater to you. Dev said it best. Strickland versus Chimaev. That does the best numbers right now. And to me, I'm still not sold. Even though Strickland looked incredible tonight, I'm still not sold on him like long term. I don't think he's a really threat to Chimaev, but it's the most marketable having Strickland calling him a terrorist and all this shit. Probably say something ridiculous. Hopefully, doesn't go too far and say something ridiculous about Muslims, and have to have some really serious protection or anything. Those guys don't mess around. But hopefully, he'll be smart enough to not say something ridiculous. But
counterpoint to that, though, they're not dependent on pay-per-view buys at this point.
No,
and the UFC is not putting forth their best foot with regards to Paramount at this point. They just announced a couple of headliners. I mean, are you crap me? Mike Malott and Gilbert Burns is headlining a fight night. Chris Duncan and Moicano. No,
But does Paramount, and this is obviously we're just asking a question. I don't think you're in that inner circle to know, but do they stop putting pressure on the UFC to like stack up? They might not care about the fight nights, but the numbered pay-per-views, like, hey, these are supposed to bring in big eyeballs, big subscribers.
Okay, so I think right now Ellison's focus is on Warner Brothers. Once it's off of the Warner Brothers debacle and all that fun stuff, once they get all that settled, I think there will start to be more pressure at that point.
The other thing is, and I don't know if you've ever heard me say this, but I say it to Ben all the time. Don't miss an opportunity.
Yes.
Because if you put Strickland against somebody else, that somebody else might beat him. And being that Chimaev barely ever defends the title, let's do it now. Let's get it over with. Now, obviously, if the rumors about Chimaev moving up to 205 and all that actually is true and happens, and they do an interim title, or he just vacates the title and we do a middleweight matchup, then it's easy. It's Imavov and Strickland, right? There's no other matchup, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Hernandez. I saw some people saying Hernandez was fraud checked. Agree and disagree.
Going down to 170.
No, let's start with just was he fraud checked tonight?
Oh, fraud checked. I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, it wasn't his best performance. I will be the first to admit that, but I think that this was the brightest spotlight that he's had on him by far. I mean, yeah, I know that he was in a main event with Pereira. He was in a main event with Dolidze. If I'm not mistaken, both of those were fight night, or excuse me, Apex cards. And it's different when the lights are brightest. You're against a name that you've recognized for a long time, a name who has been champion. I think the next time that he comes out in this type of environment, he'll be a lot more comfortable, especially if somebody's trash talking him. I think this was the first time he really got hit with that, all that fun stuff. I think Fluffy's going to bounce back strong in his next fight, but we'll have to see with regards to that.
Yeah. I hate the word fraud checked or that. Like, all right, you lost to a top 5 guy. All right, so right now you're 7th best, you're 6th best. Like, okay, that make you fraud?
Yeah, no. GSP lost to Matt Hughes, came right back and spanked everybody along the way. Yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah, and then he lost to Matt Serra, but yeah, no, it's just fraud check. It's bullcrap. I mean, people usually end up taking some L's before they get to the top.
Yeah,
big deal.
He is smaller for the weight class.
Yes.
Ivan Report suggested maybe he goes down to 170. You're his coach. Do you think it's a good decision?
I don't necessarily think the size was the problem in this fight. So there's a logjam at welterweight. There's a logjam at middleweight. I think that it would be better off to stay at middleweight. Like I said, I don't think it was the size. I really don't. And I think that he would have less favorable matchups at welterweight against the guys that are near the top as well. Not to mention the fact that who's the flashy guy at middleweight? Strickland. He's already faced him. He's already lost to him. But good luck with his style getting ahead of a guy like, say, Michael Morales or Carlos Process or somebody with a gift for gab like Ian Gary.
Yeah.
I think the road for him is easier at middleweight.
And there's Kamaru Usman somehow getting shine, and then you still have other hot prospects like Bonfim, and yeah,
Mhm.
I think it's an easier division, especially if Shemaev leaves the division to kind of get back in the title picture. You're 1 or 2 wins right back in it. I also think based on when we see good Hernandez, it's fighting like a bat out of hell on the gas. If he's cutting more weight, can he do that? Maybe he can. Maybe he's bigger, maybe stronger. Maybe it actually works out for him, especially his grappling. But there's probably better grapplers at I mean, when you think about the grapplers, well, if Shemaev leaves the division, well, Makashev's better than anybody grappling at middleweight, except for, of course, Bo Nickel.
Yep.
Let's matchmake. So
Yeah.
I'm giving Strickland. I'm giving him Shemaev. I'm doing the big fight. What are you doing?
I'll stick with my guns. Say give Imavov the title shot, and I'll say Strickland gets winner of Ohio and DeRitter.
Okay. Let's do Hernandez. I'm going to give him Robert Whitaker.
I actually have that name too.
There you go. I think a lot of people. I saw someone else in the chat having Rob Whitaker. I think it makes sense. They're both kind of at that point. You get a win over Rob Whitaker, even at this point in your career, you're kind of right back into it. Co-main event was a really quick fight. I think a lot of people predicted a really quick fight. I don't think they predicted who was going to win, as Jeff Neal took on Euros Metas, winning by first round KO. I mean, Metas, he has shown it time and time in the UFC. When he wins, it's usually spectacular. Not the knockout. This guy can absolutely smash. That's 3 first-round KOs in a row. Do you believe in Euros Medish?
Not really. I mean, if you want me to know, if you want me to say he's going to be a consistent figure in the official UFC rankings at this point, no. I think he's somebody who's just as prone to get killed as he is to kill, and the higher that he climbs, the likelihood of him getting killed increases as well. I think he's more like Matt Fravola. Matt Fravola had a couple of spectacular wins, launched him up into the top 15 in the lightweight division, and ended up getting slaughtered once he started facing a more consistently higher level of competition. That doesn't mean that I don't think Medic is fun. I think he's a lot of fun to watch, but I do not think he's there to stay, so to speak.
Yeah, I see a lot of people kind of in the chat bashing Jeff Neal, and I don't want to say it's Neal is, he won because of where Neal is at this point of his career, but I think it's a little bit where I'm gonna, like, if I'm making a recipe, I'm putting 50% Neal in, 50% Medish. He's starching guys. That can go far. I mean, the power is the ultimate equalizer, and he was a grazing shot. I would feel a lot better about him, his style, everything, if he was a heavyweight, if he was a light heavyweight, if he was a middleweight. Welterweight? Is he doing that to Michael Morales? Is he doing that to Ian Gary?
Prochez.
Prochez, maybe. But let's not forget that Jeff Neal was knocked dead by Prochez one fight right before that.
And that's actually, I have no proof of this, but Medic was actually my upset special, and it's just because after Neal got deaded by Prochez, I'm like, oh, I don't think he's going to be the same fighter going forth from this point. That was one of those life-changing type knockouts. Maybe that didn't have anything to do with his performance tonight. I honestly can't say, because it didn't look like he was fighting scared or anything like that. But a lot of times after you get deaded like that, you're never the same. Great example, Sean Salmon, after that highlight reel knockout that Rashad Evans put on him. That dude barely ever won a fight after that. Oh yeah, but
back. I like Manish. Like, he was great on the mic afterwards.
He was.
He's fun. His style is fun. He called for a fight with Leon Edwards. I think it's a winnable fight for him.
I do.
I don't think he gets that fight. If I'm Leon Edwards, I'd be like, yeah, I beat Jeff Neal, and that's not how we do matchmaking. We do nobody can say no. I'm gonna give him Renat Fakhretdinov. I think that's a fun fight. Both guys throwing bombs. Whoever connects. Both guys are kind of in that same like 12 to 18 range, kind of, you know.
Fakhretdinov's not on the roster.
What? He got cut?
They did not renew his contract.
What?
Mm-hmm.
When would this happen?
A couple of months ago.
Oh my God, where the hell have I been?
Dealing with shooters?
Well, not months ago. Man, maybe I might have been. Actually, probably was more. Why the hell? He's a guy who knocks dudes out. He's exactly how the UFC would want.
Don't ask me, man. I just work at Sherdog, not the UFC.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, all right. Give me a different matchup for him.
I'm okay with him going with Edwards if that's what he really wants. But I'll be the first to admit that that's not exactly the preferred fight for him. I would give him somebody who's more likely to knock him out as he is to knock them out. Joaquin Buckley was my number one choice just because I thought that would have been a lot of fun to watch, but Buckley was booked against Brady. So we'll say Daniel Rodriguez is in the ranking. So we'll throw those two together.
Yeah. I feel like it's kind of like a lateral from like Jeff Neal. Yeah. But I'm picking guys not even in the UFC. So what the hell am I talking about? So. All right. Before that, and guys, I apologize. This is my boy, but I want I'm butcher his name. But Dan Ige took on Melchizedek Costa. I struggle with that name. Melchizedek Costa with Melky Kazel. Yeah, I can't. I wrote it down phonetically and still can't. Melky Kazel Costa. With Costa winning by first round TKO. I love this dude. I think I'm all in. I'm all in. I'm pushing it in. I think he's a contender.
A contender? Ooh,
it's
wow.
It's a hell of a division. But to me, it's the division that you can be a contender in right now.
That's true.
I mean, the champion's like 972 years old, and he's a foot shorter than you. Who's showing some durability issues. There's a road. There's not like. I mean, he's kind of making his way around. I mean, other than Lerone Murphy and Movsar Evloev, it doesn't take that many wins right now to get a title shot. I'm not saying he's going to win the title. But he looks like a top 15 guy to me. Good kicking game. I mean, Ige had no answers for the kicking game. It's Ige. To Ige's credit, I love that he went for a takedown right away. I thought that was smart. Agreed. Once my man Melky got his range and just started blasting kicks, it was like Ige was like getting hit and he was in a different neighborhood.
Yeah. The question that I have though is Melky. We'll just stick with calling him Melky. Is Melky that good, or is Ige just washed at this point? Because Ige did not look good either.
I think it's both. I think Melky's that good.
Okay.
I'm sold, dude. What he was doing, he's throwing a high kick, over and over again. Even though Ige's blocking it, he's going high kick, getting Ige laying like this, and he throws a front kick. So Ige brings his hand up like this, he gets a high kick, and he just kicks him straight in the face right on. And I'm like, oh. And then later on, obviously, the spinning back kick knockout. I think it was a little bit of an early stoppage. I'd give Danny Ige a little bit more stuff. But first guy in history to stop Danny Ige. Mm-hmm. That's pretty impressive stat. I'm sure it's not what it was 3 years ago or 4 years ago, but I'm sold, dude. I like this guy. To me, he has a like Steve Garcia type rise to him.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
where he came in the UFC, not veteran, kind of winning. You see some flashes, like, wow, man, this guy's better than I thought, and he just keeps looking better and better and better. Then all of a sudden, you're like, holy shit, dude, this guy's like a top 15 guy, and that's how I feel.
So this isn't who I wrote down as who I would have him face, but would you pit him with Steve Garcia?
I think that division. That's a good question. I mean, it's those middleweight classes. I mean, a lower to middleweight classes. I'd say from like 170 to 135. Even if you want to throw 125 in there, anybody near the top 15, it's hard to make a bad matchup. I wouldn't do Garcia because of that division is an older division with guys that, Volkanovski's already kind of made the rounds. You have your Yair Rodriguez, who doesn't get a title shot anymore. Your Diego Lopez. You're still kind of looking for contenders, and right away you're knocking out one with Murphy versus Evloev. So I kind of would keep them away, the kind of newer guys. I'd have them take like someone. I'm gonna put Melky versus Pitbull. Yeah, the name I wrote down was Arnold Allen, a guy that's kind of been in the division for a while. No one's really that excited about. Maybe I put Garcia versus Pitbull or Garcia versus somebody else rising up the rankings. Put him in like a fight night. Here's the other thing about Costa. His striking looked good tonight.
Yeah,
he came in the UFC known as a submission guy, as a ground guy. I mean, we saw him get taken down, and he's like sweep right back to his feet. I'm sold, dude. So what matchup would you do for my man Melky?
The one I wrote down, I have to agree with Iman Report. I actually had him with Pitbull. I figured, you were talking about the fact there's a lot of older guys. I think it's the right idea to be matching the younger ones with the older ones. See if they can pass that the gatekeeper test there. And not that I have anything against the older guys. You develop some affection for them if you've been watching them for years, but you kind of want to see the younger guys float to the top, and that's the best way to get it to happen.
Yeah. I mean, I still think there is some exciting matchups you can do with Volk before that. Obviously, I mean, the winner of Murphy versus Evloev is going to get that shot. I mean, hell, Volkanovski's calling for it. Talk about a guy who doesn't duck anybody. He's like, yeah, well, Murphy deserves a title shot. he said it. Like, he's like, I have a responsibility as a champion. I'm still interested if Aljamain Sterling gets it, just because of a little history. Like, one was the featherweight champion, the other one was the bantamweight champ. I would love to see Pitbull have one last run, to have the UFC champ and Bellator champ kind of go at it. Dev says, and we're going to go back to the main event real quick. Dev says they cut Sean's mic at the presser. So one of two things happen. Either Sean is saying some insane shit, which is bad for Sean, or Paramount is saying, all right, guys, that's enough. Like, he can't be saying the shit he's saying. I'm gonna lean to the second. I'm gonna say Paramount probably putting a little.
I would agree with you on that one. Yeah.
Now I'm really interested. I usually get kind of bored with the post fight interviews. Now I'm looking. Usually I like to watch this, and then after that, like the rest of the guys, it's kind of boring. I'm interested to see why they cut Sean's mic. All right, let's move on. Sergey Spivak took on Ante Dela. Better fight than expected. Like wise, still not good, but Sergey Spivak won a unanimous decision. I'm going to ask you a question. You're a historian of the game. You've been around. You're an OG. That's the one thing. We're not the new guys. We're the OGs. Is this the worst the UFC heavyweight division has been? I'm going to give you an exact fight. And tell me, has it ever been worse? Is this the worst the UFC has been since Andrei Arlovski was defending the UFC title against Justin Eilers?
UFC 53.
Yeah.
Heavy hitters.
Is it worse?
No. No. Sylvia defended against Jeff Monson.
Okay.
I would say that was worse. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong.
I think there's some. Well, I think Sylvia defending Sylvia wasn't as exciting as Arlovsky for sure. When Sylvia was a champion, nobody was arguing that he was the best in the world. When Arlovsky was champion, there wasn't many who argued that he was the best in the world, but there was like when you saw him win, it was like, oh my god, look how fast, like how he moves. You see the talent. You could say, I mean, you see the talent in him, and you just look at Fedor, and they're both obviously extremely talented, but you're like, Arlovsky looked the part, especially then.
Yes.
Especially when he had the long hair. He still had the mouthpiece with the fangs. He played the part. And then you had Fedor,
dude,
he won. He just raised his hand, like no smile, no expression, nothing.
Oh, dude, and throw in the fact too. Do you remember the injury report for Eilers after that fight? He like blew out both of his knees, and he had broken like his hand or something like that.
Was that Eilers or was that Paul Bunatello, which was the next?
Buentello was he defeated Buentello in like 16 seconds, but Eilers
face planted.
Yeah. Yes.
Eilers got a title shot coming. I don't know if you remember this. Eilers got getting knocked out by Paul Bunatello.
Yes,
he got a title shot. A first round, it was like a 30-second knockout.
Okay, dude. But at the same time, that we're talking about fights from 20 years ago. We got to talk about tonight.
And I'd rather continue. And let me counter why the one thing about Jeff Monson, I didn't believe this, that the height difference was insane. And that was a Joe Silva special. He loved that shit.
True.
The one thing about Jeff Monson they sold you on, remember, this guy won Abu Dhabi. If he could get Sylvia down, at one point he did take him down.
He did.
If he could get Sylvia down, he could submit him. There was no argument for Justin Eilers winning against John Arlovsky. Even Paul Bunatello, they argued that he was like this great boxer.
Don't fear him. Fear the lack of crowd response.
Yeah.
Poor Paul.
I see how people saying this is the reason I asked the question. I just want to remind people how bad the UFC heavyweight division has been in the past.
Yes.
It is super bad right now. It's
bad.
The one glimmer of hope we still have is the possibilities who could be in the division. We didn't have that. I mean, we were trying to make Gan McGee something. You know what I mean? Like, remember Gan McGee?
Yes.
They were trying to make Wes Sims something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Cabbage
Correa. Yes. Cabbage Correa. What do you think Cabbage is doing right now?
Oh, God.
Drunk somewhere.
Probably hanging out with BJ.
Oh, yeah, drunk somewhere. Yeah. The thing about the heavyweight division now is there's still promising people. You're still praying for a return from Tam Aspinall. Cyril Gane is what people thought Arlovsky was. This insane athleticism. You have Alex Pereira possibly moving up. You have people talking about Gable Steveson coming. Like, there is things there. You have Alex Volkanovski, who what the UFC wanted Gan McGee to be. He actually is that, you know?
Yeah. If Sergey Pavlovich can get his head straight, we've seen what he can be.
He's what they were pretending Cabbage Correa and Paul Bunatello was, the big power punching guys.
Dude, Francis could make his way back in, man.
Remember when they brought back right before the Eilers fight? They brought back Tank Abbott and Chemo.
Remember that? Oh, yeah.
Remember Tank Abbott and Chemo fighting each other?
I don't want to.
Sad thing, I was excited. I think it was like 48, maybe something like that.
Something like that. And then Chemo ended up fighting Ken Shamrock, and Shamrock knocked him out with a knee.
Oh God. All right. That's how much I don't want to talk about this. I mean, this fight was fine. It was what stood out to me about this fight. Dela looks so much faster than Spivak, but he still couldn't get out of the way of a jab.
Yeah.
When Spivak took the center and didn't back up, he was having his way. He busted him up. The only time Dela had any moments is when Spivak kind of got in that warning track area, and kind of Dela did what his Hernandez corner was telling him to do, throw big flurries. And then when he actually hurt him in the second round, looked like oh man, he might put him out. Then he clinched.
Yep. He just had a rush of adrenaline and then an immediate drop. Like I as I watched him clinch, I could just see him take a big breath. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's already out of energy. He's got nothing left. He can't finish him. Just he had it. He was right there. He was so close, and he just couldn't do it.
So I'm looking at Spivak, and I'm kind of like going through the Sherdog rankings and seeing like, oh my god, this guy's been in the UFC so long, and he's still only 31, and he's fought everybody. He's a hard guy to match up with, unless you really want to see him fight Marcin Tybura again, or. So I gave him a name that like he hasn't fought, who's the top 10, and I'm going with Rizvan Kuniev, the guy that just beat Jelton Almeida. And that's just, and honestly, it's not a fun fight. It was just, there's nobody else. Spivak fought everybody.
I went a little bit higher.
Okay.
Curtis Blades.
They failed to fight each other? No,
they have not fought each other.
Isn't there rumors that Curtis Blades and Josh Hokett is going to fight each other?
I've heard those rumors, but it hasn't been confirmed yet. So as far as I'm concerned, I can still make that fight if I want.
Yeah. No, you go with it. No, I'm not saying. I'm just asking the question more than. So when I say I was underneath, I'm like underneath the rock, I was because I was traveling. I was in airports with my daughter and everything, and I really tried to focus on the first time me and her ever did like just a trip, just the two of us. So I was trying to do like some fun things. Because honestly, she's 16. She's constantly talking about, she's 16. I get it. She's constantly talking about like, oh, she wants to move to Texas and she wants to, live her life. And, so I'm like, what am I going to, ever have another chance like this? So I'm like, really like not looking at my phone, really trying to like enjoy the days we had. And when softball was over, really like we were in St. Petersburg, then we went to Orlando and, went to Old Town and we did a gator, one of those airboat rides, and we did kayaking, and I'm really enjoying like the time I had with her.
Yeah,
and of course, the biggest MMA fight that has been announced in probably 5 years gets announced while I not focusing on my phone. So I'm the last person on the planet to know that Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano are actually fighting each other. Which, anyways, let's not go down that route, but. Before that, Jacoby Smith took on Josiah Harrell, winning by first round knockout. Absolute mismatch. UFC debut guy versus a true blue chip prospect. When I say Jacoby Smith all in, I think everybody's kind of all in, like top 10 talent. Yeah. How far are you all in? Like, how high are we going?
I think he could get a title shot. I don't think he wins it. Now that's sure. As far as I'm concerned, that's pretty high praise. There's nothing wrong with that. Most guys would kill to be able to have that type of a legacy. But I was actually a little bit surprised. He's already 30. I thought he was closer to like 28, 27.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said like, "Hey, man, I'm not young. Let's." That's why he called for a big fight.
Yep. And it was Kevin Holland that he called for, I believe.
Yeah, he was like, you want to fight his bitch out. I mean, I don't know if there's like some like Texas rivalry thing going on. I think one's from Dallas, one's from Houston area, and I don't know. Like, cause they would just like call him out like, yo, bitch ass and everything. Holland ain't that guy. Like Holland, the guy, I wouldn't be if we heard them throwing blows each other in the back right now, like they ain't surprising me. Yeah, Holland, anytime just Holland throwing blows at him, he throw him at the entire Oklahoma State wrestling team is there visiting Jacoby Smith or something, I feel the same. Like this guy's a little bit. This guy. I mean, the guy's athleticism is there. I mean, take this what it's worth. This is just gaining experience, getting incredible knockout. Like, but I feel the same way. Like you said, the guy will fight for a title. Like that to me is predicting as high as it go. Only 2 times in history have I ever predicted a guy Yeah, not counting when they actually scheduled the fight for the title. But I mean,
No,
like,
I get it.
way
Yeah.
out, pick a guy to win a title. I've only done 2 times in history. In 20-something years, I've been watching MMA. I mean, those 2 guys were John Jones and Josh Fan. Boom, bang, and bang. Thank you guys very much. But yeah, I mean, it's there. It's okay. Let's talk about this real quick because I don't want to. I mean, I don't know how long we want to talk about this guy, but one of the worst stoppages I've ever seen.
Agreed.
Kerry Hatley, I mean, he probably landed 5 or 6 punches when he was out. But then to make matters worse, when Hatley jumps in, Jacoby Smith throws 2 or 3 more punches after. So he already was this horrendous bad stoppage. Hatley jumped in way. I'm not blaming Smith for continuing to punch Harold when he was out. But once Hatley jumped in, he still threw 2 more punches or 3 more punches. That to me, I don't think he's getting enough hate on the internet for that.
Yeah, no, I was actually.
You can't tell me he didn't know it. At one point, he's like punching around Hatley. It wasn't like he was behind him. Maybe you didn't feel him. It's like he was in front of you and you punched like over his arm. It was really extremely dirty, and I don't think people don't mention it enough.
I was actually kind of surprised that the commentators were defending Smith on that. You know, they were like, "Oh yeah, Hatley got really aggressive in pulling him off." Well, no shit. He was throwing punches after Hatley had already intervened.
Yeah, Hatley was terrible. Hatley was terrible. But once he got there, you can't keep. I mean, it was. I mean, to me, I think they're both wrong. They both should get some blame. And this, the worst thing about this, I mean, you're going against a guy you're completely overmatched with. You knock him out. Good. You knock him out. It is what it is. But this guy took this fight on short notice. There's no beef. There wasn't like he was talking about your mom and some shit like that. It wasn't like a Kobe Covington thing saying to Leon Edwards about a dead dad. Like, you know, like he just got to take a fight against you. Trying to get in the UFC. Trying to provide for his family. Trying to make a living. You know, going for his dream. Like I thought it was, you know, not good. And I'm like pro wrestlers. I'm always backing the wrestlers, but that was bad.
I'll throw this out there before we move on, though. I saw enough success out of Harold for me to think that Smith has his prospect loss coming up pretty soon, I think.
Yeah, that whole like him getting taken down and like backflipping over him, like that's not going to work a lot either.
Yes, yeah. So I think his prospect loss is coming. Doesn't mean that he's a fraud or anything like that. No, more often than not, you end up stumbling before you get to the top, and I think that's coming sooner rather than later for Smith.
Yeah, I agree, and that doesn't change how far I think he can go, but I actually agree. I think that's actually a really good feel because he's still relying a lot on athleticism. How about too bad Michelle Pereira, who we're going to talk about next, wasn't still a welterweight? Because that actually would make a lot of sense, like a style and like where Pereira is now, but also like these 2 insanely athletic guys. I know like Pereira is showing a declining athleticism, but if he was still a 170 pounder, that'd be fun. Yeah. Pereira won a split decision over Zach Reese. Back and forth fight. How did you score?
29-28 for Reese.
So did I. Second, third round?
Yeah.
I'm okay with Pereira winning it because of I thought Reese landed better shots in the second. I thought he landed more shots, but the actual damage shown was like Pereira busting up. So I could understand how a judge would be like, oh, it's a close round, and one guy's nose is bleeding, his face is black and blue. Like I can understand why someone would give that to Pereira. So I don't hate the round. That said, I don't feel bad for Reese that he lost split decision because he gave Pereira a fight that Pereira could win because Pereira was slowing down, and then you fought at a slow pace where you're going shot for shot, 1 for 1. And you kind of let him fight a slower, still look kind of good because of it pace. Like if he just turned it up a little bit more. And how many times you got to come in with your hands down and get blasted on the counter right hand?
He showed poor fight IQ as well. How many times did he allow the fight to get stopped for whether it was a groin shot or what? Giving Pereira exactly what he needed.
That's a good point too. Dude, let me tell you something. My wife, she's like, you can even mention this on the on air. So my middle daughter will watch the fight to me. She just wasn't getting into it. I was doing things, so like I was kind of blame. So she's like reading a book and watching, and usually we like watch together, we cheer, and it's so I'm more to blame. And she was watching the prelims, which is boring, so she didn't watch the main card. So my wife kind of like almost traded. She came down and started watching it. Oh man, she was hating on Michelle Pereira. She was like, oh, that hit him in the leg. Then the second one, which I thought the second one, it looked like it might have grazed up the cup. And he's like, that didn't even hit the cup. Then she going off about like, now mind you, my wife is the sweetest woman alive. Like I married the woman from Sound of Music. Like we've been together me and my wife been together for 22 years. I've not heard her swear one time, not a single time. Yeah. And he gets poked in the eye. She clearly got poked in the eye. And she's like, no, it did. It was on his foot. I'm like, honey, when it comes down, you see him get poked in the eye. She's like, no, it happened so fast. Like, you would close his eye. I'm like, oh, God. And like, you were hitting on Michelle. She just hated on Michelle Pereira. She's like, you can even say it on the air that I don't like that guy. He didn't deserve to win. So I don't know. I don't know if they dated in a previous life and he dumped her or something, or I don't know. She does not like Michelle Pereira. That said, some of the fouls were kind of iffy. Like,
oh yeah.
That said, you rule it a foul, you have to act like it's a foul, in my opinion.
Agreed.
You can't get fouled 3 times in one round and not get a point taken away. A point should have been taken. I think some of the fouls were, if not the eye poke, I think eye poke was legit. Second groin strike, the first groin strike to me looked clean, looked like a kick to the thigh.
Agreed.
But to me, if you say it's a foul, then treat it like 3 fouls.
Yeah, no. Years ago, when I actually had the capacity to run a decent amount of time, I would referee Little League basketball games. And there are times where you blow the whistle, and immediately after you blow the whistle, you're like, shit, I got that one wrong. Yeah. But you blew the whistle. You have to continue through and say that was a foul.
Sure.
So it's exactly what you're saying. Look, if you guys are ruling that a foul, follow through. They refuse to. And that's the status quo with MMA. I understand that, but yeah, no, the fighters are going to continue to take advantage of that and not just bend the rules. They're going to damn well break them as often as they can until they know, okay, at this point, I no longer have the leeway. If they start actually penalizing that shit, things will start changing really quick, but nobody wants to.
Yeah, I'll go to my grave saying that if you're an MMA fighter and you're in any position to punch a guy in the back head, take it. Yep. When was the last time someone ever got disqualified for a punch in the back of the head? In fact, you will get a knockout win for punches in the back of the head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Take it every time. Take it every time. And if you're in a match and you're in a really close fight and it's third, I don't know if I want to do the first, but you're right there and you're in the third round and it's close and your opponent shoots in for a takedown, is about to take you on. If they take you on, they're going to win that round, they're going to win the fight, grab the fence because you get one free fence grab.
I'm pretty sure that it's been more recent, but the last time I remember somebody getting DQ'd for punches to the back of the head was Sakara and Cote back in 2012.
2012.
Like I said, I'm sure there's been something else since, but
somewhere, but 14 years ago. Punch him in the back of the head every single time you can. All right. Here's everyone's favorite time of the show. This is the get to know your host portion. We'll take any suggestions. I should have said this in the beginning of the show. If you had any suggestions, I have a question. I'll ask that question. But while we're talking about that, if I see someone with a better suggestion, my man Antoine Willis, I don't think is here today. He usually has Antoine Willis usually has all the best suggestions, except for the one time he wanted to know when me and Ben lost our virginity. I was like, all right, dude. Weird. He's such a good dude. No, he's the man. That, and he loves to ask me basketball questions. I like that. I don't know. Like, I haven't watched basketball since like Paul Pierce days. But all right, here's just because I was traveling this week, I have a travel question. Oh God, I gotta tell a funny story on I haven't done a story time with Keith. I'm not gonna do it for this time, but I'll do story time with Keith on the next preview show about my traveling with Southwest. I had like a meet the parents type. Did you say bomb on the plane? Not to that extent, but almost like that on my flight from Providence down to Orlando.
Bomb.
Yeah. It's too long of a story, but I will make sure next time we have a real shit card, I'll throw in a story time with Keith with Southwest Airlines. But all right. I know you're a world traveler. You've been to a bunch of places. You're now in the beautiful. I've heard Utah being like, I've never been to Utah, but I've heard Salt Lake City is like one of the most beautiful cities in America and all that stuff. I want you to give me, if you could move anywhere, give me your top 3 places you would live, not visit, not go on vacation. You actually live there. And we'll throw it in the chat, and we'll read your answers too.
Okay. Do we want to alternate?
Sure. You want to build it up? Do you have an order? Do you have a top 3, or do you have it randomly?
It would totally 100% be randomly. 100%.
All right. Okay. I actually put it like a top 3. So I'll give you my third.
Okay.
And all 3 places I've been to. And that's why I'd say it like that. I almost put Northern New England. I love like New Hampshire, Vermont. But then I remember the winters. So I left them off. Though I do like going up there. I love being there on the lakes. But my number 3 is Southern California. I love I went to San Diego, that area. I don't know if I want to live in like San Diego, but I visited like there's a place called like Escondido or something like that. It was right outside. So it had but there's beautiful mountains and the weather's like 80 degrees all the time. It doesn't get too hot, doesn't get too low. It has that dry air. I know they say Arizona. I've never been to Arizona. They say Arizona is similar. But I think a place like that, that weather year round. All right. So if anybody lives in that area and you want to have Keith come visit and hang out stay at your house for a week, hit me up. I'm down.
Okay.
What do you got?
Okay. All right. So this isn't necessarily the exact place, but just some place that would be similar to it. There's this tiny town in South Central Utah called Grover. There is nothing there. And there's times where you don't want to live in the middle of nowhere, but there are other times where you're like, this is exactly what I want. And it's not too far from like, say, Bryce Canyon and shit like that. It's not too far from even Zion's Canyon. It's not too far from all that fun stuff, but you're just nowhere. There's nobody there to bother you or anything like that. And it's just peaceful. I love that type of environment.
How far is that from where you live now?
Oh, right now it's about 200 miles away.
Okay, so it'd probably take you like 3 hours, 3.5 hours, something like that.
Closer to 4, because there's like some weaving and whatnot. Like it's in the middle of nowhere enough that you'd be taking the freeway down and then you'd have to scoot on back. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I give you my second place.
Cool.
It's where Ben is right now. I am taking Texas, the state of Texas. I'd either want to live. I've visited Galveston, and it's incredible. There's an island called Crystal Beach. Oh, it's called Boulevard or something like that. It's an island, but there's a beach on there, an area called Crystal Beach. It's beautiful. I'd like to stay there, or just Texas in general. I'm from New England. I'm like a city guy. I am not, dude. I'm a country guy. I love country music. I drive a truck. Like I'm a hillbilly redneck without really I don't take much for my neck to be red, but like I love that. I love the country, old time mayhem and all that. And I went to Fort Worth, Texas. I love Fort Worth. I could live there. Like every time I remember I was down in Fort Worth and I was with my cousin who was like single. And I'm like, God, the girls down there were like, oh, I'm a married man, but I'm like, oh my God, just I love that country girl look. And I'm like, dude, I'm saying to him, he's younger than me. I'm like, dude, why are you coming? Why are you going home? Just stay down there. Let's just stay. Like you don't have, like he doesn't have the best job. He's not married. He has no kids. I'm like, dude, just stay here. Like, find a job. Go on a ranch. I'll be a rancher. Like I could do that. I should have been a cowboy. Like I love that. So
There's a song.
Like, that's where I should have. All right. What's your second? Hold on. I can answer this question. Ninja Kitty asked me, have I ever left the States? Well, first of all, my wife is Canadian. I've been to Canada like 50 freaking times. But more importantly, I was in the Army. I lived in Iraq for a year and a half. Yes, I've been out of the United States. Deb mentions I'd love Gatlinburg, Tennessee. I've been to Gatlinburg, and I do love. That's actually good. That actually, that might be number 4. That's actually a beautiful spot. Nice call, Deb. All right, what do you
got? Number 2. It is actually where my mother grew up. My grandfather was the athletic director at East Carolina University in Greenville, North Carolina. Love the Southern charm in that area, but at the same time, it's not like it's a tourist destination or anything like that where you're just getting people constantly coming through. You can tell based on my first selection that I'm not crazy about heavily populated areas. But I feel like you kind of get the best of both worlds. There's some humidity there, but it's not like overbearing like it would be in places like Florida or something like that. But you still get the nice Southern charm. It's decent sized city. Not too small, not too big, anything like that. And I'm sure that there's plenty of places like that throughout the South, but because, like I said, that's where my mom's from. I spent basically an entire summer there when I was a kid. Love that area. Would love for something like that to go back to.
Yeah, dude, it's funny for being a New Englander. Like people think, I hate the cold. I hate the snow. We have a big snowstorm coming in tomorrow. I mean, my wife would make fun of me. She's like, "Oh yeah, you hate the snow, but I'll snow blow the whole neighborhood. I'll be out there all day with the snow blow, helping everybody out." But I I hate the snow. But give me the heat. Like you said, like, oh, it's not as hot as Florida. I will take the humidity of Florida over cold anywhere. Like the heat doesn't bother me. I must be like a Targaryen or something. The heat don't bother me.
I grew up in Utah, and that's a desert. So
Okay.
I am a pansy to humidity.
Okay.
Like my father-in-law lived in Florida for a little while. We went and visited him during the winter, so it wasn't even that bad there. And I was just like, damn, it's hot, humid out here. So
listen, don't get me wrong. I prefer the dry heat, but dude, I will take the heat in Texas and heat in Florida over a winter New England my wife, where she grew up in Canada, is 100 times worse than where I grew up.
Yeah.
And I lived in Fort Drum, New York for a while, and that is way worse. That lake effect off there, that's horrendous. All right, my number one is super lake. This isn't a good answer, but I'm going to Hawaii. Like when I visited Hawaii, I mean, I just kept saying to my wife, like we have 3 kids, and obviously we had to go back. But I'm like, if we were like first year married, we were living in this little apartment in East Providence, and it was like, we neither one had careers. I'm like, I would just stay here, figure it out. Let's start going to hotels and like, need help, I need a job. I wouldn't want to stay in Honolulu where it's busy.
No,
but I wouldn't want to stay in like the North End either. I'd want to be like somewhere in between where you drive to the North End from Honolulu, like all those little towns. Like I could live there. The feel, the slowness, the like no care, like flip flops on. You never wear sneakers. Like
yeah.
I could hang out with Max Holloway, jumping off cliffs into water and swim with turtles and stuff. Like sign me up, dude. That's where I plan on going when I'm an old man. But
yeah.
All right, what's your number 1 spot? All right, what's your last one? I know you have
So Astoria, Oregon. It's along the coast, really quirky town. The whole town is built on a hill. Um, just, I don't know. Like I said, there's so much quirkiness about it. The beach is right there. I was always, whenever I lived there for 6 months, and I would go back
I'm
there in
sorry,
a
where'd you say?
heartbeat if I could. Astoria, Oregon. It is like
Okay.
the
I've heard of it.
northwest part in Oregon.
That's not where like the Goonies was filmed, right?
Yes, it is.
It
Yes,
is.
it is.
Okay. Where they have
Yes.
like those
Yeah,
little
it's
pillar things, the little things
uh-huh.
where the boat goes by.
Yep, and their Kindergarten Cop was filmed there as well.
Okay.
Yeah. But it just quirky little place, just so many fun little things about it. And probably the thing that I love the most, just an area out on the beach. Whenever I was just feeling flustered or overcome or anything like that, just go out on the jetty and just watch the waves come in and could not be more at peace. Loved it there. I would go back there in a heartbeat.
It's funny. I always say to my kids that I'm gonna like move, but then I'm like, by the time like I can't move until my kids are out of high school. But by the time my son's out of high school, like my daughters are old enough to probably have kids, and like I'll be that grandchild that I'm a grandparent at every single sporting event, and want to be in their lives. So I'm like, when I tell my wife we're never moving. Like we've talked about it a million times. We're never moving.
Yeah.
Let's ask one more question before we move on. Someone asked, places, or how about just give me one place you would, or I'll give me two. They put places, two places you would like to travel outside of the United States. This is just travel, just visit. You don't have to like live there. I get two off the top of my head, so I'll let you think for a second.
Okay.
So my wife always wanted to go to Australia. I think that'd be cool. But it's more hers. I've been to Italy, but very short ones in the army. I didn't really get to go around and see. I love to see like Rome and Italian food and all that, and go to the Colosseum and do all that. So Italy, I think, would be my top choice. So what do you
got? Egypt. I think it would be fun to be able to go and see the pyramids, things like that. Yeah. My dad actually got to go there. He was Air Force Reserve for many, many years. And so he was actually able to go there and go into the pyramids, stuff like that, sent back all sorts of cool things, and had an obsession with wanting to be able to go and see that since ever since I was a kid because of that. And then number two, love the castles in Great Britain. Would love to be able to go there and visit. I know that there's a ton in Scotland, so maybe be more specific with regards to that. But yeah, just be able to visit the castles there. I think those are so fascinating.
So I'll give you one real quick that I think you like. When I was in Iraq, in the southern part of Iraq, when we're just doing a convoy, ancient Babylon is in Iraq. And we went to where the old ruins were. And it was like people telling us, it was like, oh, this is where, if you believe the Bible stories, this is where Daniel was put in the lion's den. And this is where the Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were putting in here. And anyways, and there was the one like, oh, this is where the writing on the wall was in the Bible. And I was looking, it was like a little rock from the wall that was like about to fall off. And I took it. I ripped it. It was like falling off. I just like took it as a souvenir. I went home and I still have it to this day. Though. And I'm like, that's from the wall with the writing of the wall. And God wrote his message to. So. Anyways, I'll give you one more question, real quick. 10-second answer. You can only choose one for the rest of your life: beef, pork, chicken, lamb, or fish.
Beef.
Yeah, me too. Beef.
There's so much you can do with beef. So yeah.
Chicken you can do a lot. Chicken's a second choice, but
pork, I'm with you. But like steak, pork, hamburgers, brisket. Oh yeah, no beef.
Pork, lamb, and fish were not even. All right, so we went a little longer than we normally do with Know Your Host question, but we're gonna breeze through the prelims. Carlos Leal took on Chidi and Jukwani, with Carlos Leal winning by unanimous decision. I thought it was the best fight of the night. It was really fun, entertaining for the very 15 minutes. The only thing I couldn't believe, I was waiting for a knockout. Both guys were going for it. I couldn't believe they just banged it out for 15 minutes and there wasn't a knockout.
Oh yeah, no, especially given Leal got knocked out pretty quickly by Solikov in his last fight.
That's right.
And then And Cheaty's been,
had
I don't
issues.
trust his. Yeah, I don't trust his chin at 170. I trust it less there than I do at 185, just because of dehydration. But no, you're right. They both hung in there and both were going for it. So
Yeah.
shocker.
I love Leo. Leo is so underrated. Like I'm watching it and I'm like, dude, his cardio is unbelievable. His pressure, his body work. And I'm like, man. And then Chitty was having more success in the third. Problem is, man, the pressure was getting to him. He kept getting trapped in that warning track and he was pillaring. So his shots were faster. They were maybe even been cleaner at times. Problem is he'd throw 1 or 2 and then 6 would come back at him.
Yeah.
And I was watching Leo and I go, yeah, he's not getting a huge knockout or anything like this. And I am worried like his whole game is centered around great durability. And like we saw Salikov make him pay for that. How long can he do it? I don't know, but it's going to be fun to watch. He's going to beat he's going to win fight. To me, he has a style. He's going to win fights where he's a big underdog and people don't give him a shot and he's going to win.
Oh, totally. 100%.
Before that, O'Day Osborne took on Alibi Idris winning by unanimous decision. Idris came into the UFC in his UFC debut with a lot of hype. He got a hiccup. He looked a lot more like the guy that had hype in this fight, in my opinion. Yes. What do you think?
Oh, no, that you couldn't have put it better. More than anything, what I took out of this is just how good Joseph Morales really is. Because he made Idris look like an amateur.
I can't remember if Ben picked I picked Morales in the upset. I can't remember if we had a consensus with Ben, and it was like that when I first thought I looked on paper. I'm like, oh yeah, this should be Idris fight. Then I started looking at the tape study of Morales. I'm like, dude, Morales is good. I kept watching. I'm like, man, this guy's good. So yeah, I agree with you. I actually think it does say a lot about Morales. As far as Idris, what I liked about him, he just kept busy. Like O'Day is not a guy that has a game plan. You can just tell.
No,
he's not a game plan guy. He just throws 1-2s and he hopes to connect. And but his busyness, it felt like O'Day never even got to get going. Like he was too busy, had to defend a takedown, had to, block this big kick, I had to block this spinning thing come at me. And then the next minute he's back on my legs and he's like never really got his hands going. He had like a couple of chances to let him go. And to me, that was like, it was what Strickland was doing to Hernandez with a jab, but like complete opposite. Like he's throwing everything but a jab. He's coming with everything and you have to react. You're going to be on defense the whole time. He was like a football team. Yeah, he was a football team and got the ball.
A lot more variety was coming from him. So yeah, no, totally agree with that.
Yeah. And I mean, O'Day Osborne, I feel like it's just so easy to pick against him. Speaking of flyweights, before that, Alden Correa took on Luis Garule. Carrera winning by unanimous decision. Carrera looks solid. I don't know if he looked as good as like the commentators made it seem like.
They were hyping up his association with Van more than anything. I would think.
Yeah, like they were making it almost sound like he's like the biggest threat to Van's title. Like they were making like he's like John Jones. I'm like, yeah, he looked good. There was definitely moments I was like, wow, he looks really crisp. But I'm also watching him like, dude, and he opened up late. It seemed like he was building as the fight went. But I'm like, dude, if he opened up early, he should have had a stoppage. Like there was a big step up in skills between these two, and I'm like, dude, I don't know. Like he looks good. I'm not like bashing him, but I don't know. I don't think it was as great as a performance as the commentators pretending it was.
No, I agree with you. I mean, I think he'll be in the top in the UFC's top 15 in next year or so. I know that doesn't necessarily sound like a very quick, but when these guys are fighting like twice a year, maybe 3 times a year, that's actually pretty damn quick. So I think he'll be there pretty quick. But yeah, I'm with you. I didn't see anything that made me think, ooh, he looks a lot like his teammate. Maybe he's probably going to be winning the title. It wasn't anything like that, but no, he looks solid.
Yeah, agreed. Speaking of looking solid, Jocelyn Edwards took on Nora Cornell in a rematch. Nora looked great early. I mean, her clinch game was on. She was landing. I'm sitting there. I'm a Jocelyn. I'm a Jocelyn backer. I took her on my fantasy team. People laughed at me. Ain't laughing that much anymore. My girl's on a streak. But she was getting beat up in the clinch. But man, she started getting her grappling going. Big, huge slam. I think it should have been stopped right then.
Oh yeah.
then she ended up having to take her back and choking her. But Edwards came in as this striker who's suddenly now grappling. It kind of reminds me a lot of a this very lesser version of Holly Holm. Not to as decorated striker as Holly Holm, or I just mean like known for striking, who suddenly keeps winning a lot with her grappling.
Yeah, no, well, Edwards has been utilizing offensive wrestling for the last little bit. If there's somebody that she knows she can take down, she's been prone to do it. There's been a couple of fights where that was her primary form of offense, but
yeah,
her defensive wrestling is still a massive problem. But she's very fortunate she's in a division where that's really not going to be a problem. The majority of the fighters that populate that division, especially going upwards until she gets to the very top, the majority of them are strikers.
And the funny thing is, like, she came in the UFC as like this terrible grappler, and I get, her defensive grapple is still an issue, but like her offensive grappling is a strength now. And
yeah, absolutely.
She's won 4 in a row in that division. Mm-hmm. You got to ask the question, like, do you believe in her?
She'll hang around the top 10 for a while, but I don't think she's getting a title shot.
I'll say this. When Norma Dumont is like the third best in the division, Jocelyn Edwards can make a run.
She could.
She's not beating Amanda Nunes. I don't care if Nunes is a shell of what her former self is. She ain't beating Amanda Nunes.
No.
I don't care if Kayla Harrison has no neck. She ain't beating Kayla Harrison. You know what I mean? I don't care if they remove Kayla Harrison's spine. She's not beating Kayla Harrison.
There are some names coming up that has me worried about her ability. For instance, you got Michelle Montague, Bia Mesquita. Both of them are grapplers, and so I think both of them, either one of them, might be able to potentially right now tear her apart, just based on the fact that it would be a terrible stylistic matchup for her.
And she hasn't beaten enough to kind of separate themselves and have that person get knocked off before they reach her. She's still in that, like, could fight them right. Like, if they got booked next, it wouldn't be like, oh, wow, that's really weird matchmaking. Even though she probably deserves like a I don't know, like Raquel Pennington or something like that.
The name that I've got her going against next is Irina Aldana. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Okay, that fits the role. She deserves a name like that, but she probably gets a lower level person instead.
Yeah.
But the one thing I will say that I think I'm probably higher on her than you are, she's physically imposing. And that goes a long way in women's MMA.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Say what you want about Juliana Pena. She's a physically imposing female. That's why she wins. Raquel Pennington is a physically imposing female. That's why she was successful. Good Misha Tate was physically imposing. Less about skill and more about just being stronger and kind of meaner.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of truth to
that. Speaking of physically imposing, Puna Soriano keeps going and picks up his 4th win in a row, beating Ramiz Brahimaj. Both was going for their 4th win. Really close fight. I saw kind of some scorecards going for Brahimaj. How did you score it?
I think I was 29-28 Soriano. Yeah, I was.
Yeah, I had rounds 2 and 3 for Soriano. To me, it came down to the second round where there wasn't a lot of action. There was a lot of clinching, and Brahimaj actually got a takedown. But the damage that was done in the very brief exchanges, to me, were for Soriano. And I'm like, I got to give him the 5 or 6 good hard shots. He landed over then a takedown and a little bit of grappling.
Yeah. No, I think that's a damn good way to put it. I know that you want to move quick, but I do think that this is very much worth pointing out.
Good.
So who was in the co-main event tonight?
Yaros Medic.
Who was the last guy that he lost to?
Was it Puna?
It was Puna, and Puna has not lost since then.
Wow, there you go. So you're kind of like saying, like, one guy's in the early prelims, the other guy's in the co-main event. And
UFC will reward you if you are knocking your opponent's ass out.
Are you believing in Puna? I mean, at welterweight, he's 4-0 now.
I think he can flirt with the rankings, but he's not a contender.
He's more well-rounded than Euros is. So if he beat Euros again, it wouldn't surprise me at all. But Euros, one trick he has can bring him higher. Like he can hit that trick against higher guys than Puna's game can. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Like Puna's well-rounded game can only take him so far, where Euros one-dimensional power game, I think, could take him even further.
No, it definitely could, but the peaks and valleys are both higher and lower for Udos.
Yes, that's a good way to say it. Like Euros will lose to a lower level guy than Puna does. Like Puna's not losing to he's not losing to a low level talent.
Yep.
But do I believe in him? Top 30-ish. Like I don't view him as a top 15 guy because there was a moment in the second round. It was a close round. I had him winning it. He could lose at the end, and Barkman shot him for a takedown. He stuffed the takedown, he pushed his head. Like they even pointed out, he shot on him. He pushed his head to the side, had a chance, kind of sprawled out, and then didn't he stopped the initial sprawl, but then didn't do what I call separated, when you push on the legs and get further away from him. He didn't do that, and he let Barkman come back in, close the distance, and get a takedown. I'm like, you can't get taken down in close rounds and possibly lose a fight. To me, that was no, man, this ain't the guy. He ain't the guy.
Yeah, I can respect that.
The little details there, and I know I'm way more critical when it comes to wrestling. I'm a wrestling coach. That's where I spend all day today. I love wrestling. It's my number one passion. It's number one sport. Before that, Phil Rowe took on John Paul Labonnie.
The Bosniani.
Bosniani. Labosniani. The John Paul won by split decision. I think it was a pretty solid fight. To me, it shouldn't have been a split decision. I thought John Paul clearly won.
Yeah.
Rowe just needed to jab more. He didn't throw. He was winning at distance, but not I don't know, not keeping the distance.
Wasn't doing enough. He just wasn't doing enough. That's Rowe's problem. On the Sherdog Slack, we were kind of talking about it, and I don't know if it would help Rowe to go up to 185, because I think that the weight cut might be taking too much out of him for him to be able to consistently work. I don't know, but at the same time, I feel like he'd completely get bullied at 185. His frame is unusual in the sport, so I don't know. Maybe he's kind of in no man's land with regard to that.
Yeah, he I don't know if he's gonna have the opportunity to go up to 185, or if he does, it could be somewhere else. JPL, he came in with a lot of hype. I've seen a lot of people super on him, and he came in as a favorite against Rowe in his UFC debut. I'm not on the bandwagon. I'm definitely this performance didn't put him in the bandwagon. I don't know if he has the overall skills to be a high guy in the division, but what I do like a little bit is seeing that he had a strategy to put himself in position to win.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe guys who have good strategy tend to win close fights they shouldn't, or tend to win close fights over guys who are more talented but don't have a worse game plan. He's going to beat guys that he shouldn't.
No, he kind of reminds me of Ben's coach, Alex Morono. I think he's got a little bit more athleticism than Morono. He's going to have to really prove himself if he's going to have as long of a tenure as Morono had. But I see a lot of similarities there.
In fairness, Mike Gradon has more athleticism than Alex Morono. So
you're not wrong.
Speaking of a guy with no athleticism but still wins, Jordan Levitt took on the idea Del Valle, winning by unanimous decision. I will say something, and we'll get to Del Valle in a second. Jordan Levitt is my least favorite fighter in the UFC. I can't. I don't know. I try not to have favorite fighters. Oh, but Jordan Levitt is my least like I never enjoy Jordan Levitt. He's smart. He knows how to win. He puts himself in position to win. Similar to what I was just talking about JPL. He beats guys he shouldn't by just having know what he's good at and going there.
Yeah.
I just I'd rather watch paint dry than watch him fight.
Credit to him. So both Ben and Dev were saying in the preview show that they don't think that him moving down to 145 is going to solve the problems that he was having at lightweight. I thought the same thing. I might have been wrong because he was actually having his way with Del Valle a lot easier than I imagined that he would have. I didn't think that it was an impossibility for him to win this fight, but for him to manhandle Del Valle the way that he did, I very well could have been wrong with regards to that.
Yeah, I mean, I give credit. I mean, did this guy have a worse night? I mean, he looked horrendous. He came in as a big favorite. He looked horrendous. Got beat up by a guy that can't be fun to get beat up by. At one point, was literally spanked at the end of the fight.
Yes.
And then the guy starts twirling around like a ballerina after he beats you. Like, oh, dude, that. And then everyone's like questioning your win against Isaac Duggar, which.
I think that's fair.
People were questioning it already, and you did not help because you looked worse on the ground against a worse wrestler. And this is a terrible, terrible night for Del Valle.
Yeah, no, if Jordan Levitt can do that to you, Isaac Dolgarian should have been able to do that to you with one arm tied behind his back. Like, it's hard to believe that fight wasn't thrown after that performance. I mean, Levitt is not an overpowering guy, but he did what he wanted with Del Valle.
And before that, Juliana Miller took on Carly Judice. Judice winning by unanimous decision. Judice striking looks awesome, but
yeah,
I know a lot of critics don't like her ground game and everything, but I'm sold in this division. I'm sold. Like, to me, she's a future top 10 fighter. She's going to beat up a lot of girls with just her striking.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, there's a lot of things to be able to pick out with regards to this fight that it's like she doesn't look that great. You know, she got taken down by Miller a couple of times. She was put into some compromising positions, but a couple of things. Number one, she got out. It took a lot of gumption for her to get out of some of those positions the way that she did. Would have been a hell of a lot easier for her to tap, especially when it was pretty deep in the third round. And number two, she's not very experienced in MMA. I think this was like her ninth fight, something like that. She's got a long ways to go before she's at her peak. She's still fairly young, and she's got a lot of grit and determination. I'm with you. I think she's going to be a fixture in the flyweight division for a long time. I can't remember who it was. It might have been Ben. It could have been Dev. I can't remember which, but on the Sherdog Slack, one of them was saying that she looks like she's going to be what the UFC hoped Andrea Lee would be.
It's funny. Andrea Lee said turning into that, supposed to be coming as a decorated striker who started being better at grappling too. Yeah, it's funny. So, on a strike, she was cutting angles really well. She's very accurate. She had a lot of variety. Mm-hmm. And in the third, when she got taken down and was, Miller had her back, and everyone's bashing her. Oh, you don't get taken down by Juliana Miller and almost get submitted. And I'm like, I like that she didn't panic and she found a way out. I feel better about her. Like, almost, I'm happy that she was taken down and showed me that
exactly.
It's not good, and a lot of people like if she went against Jillian Robertson right now, she'd be in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
But will she be in trouble?
100%.
Would she be in trouble against Julian Robertson 2 years from now?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know. But I'll tell you right now, Julian's going to try to get it down quick because on the feet, she's getting torn up. And there's a lot of girls in that women's division again. But anyway, so there you guys have it. We've covered all the fights. We had some fun stuff. Let's do dudes seriously. We never leave with dudes seriously. Okay. Do you have any dudes seriouslys?
I do have a couple of them.
All right, kick it off.
You. Okay. So first, oh god. After the heavyweight fight, Bisping goes in and he's interviewing Sergey Spivak, and he tells him that fight was nonstop action. Dude, seriously, Bisping, come on. No. Good reminder that you've only got one eye, buddy.
Oh, he's the worst. He's the absolute worst.
Yeah, no, that was, dude, seriously, come on. I'll leave the I think you'll get this. There's something that I was thinking about for Dude Seriously. I'll leave that to you because I think you'd probably be able to tell it better. But I do have one other one. They also announced tonight that Bruce Buffer is going to be inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame. I think that is great. Buff totally deserves it. He is a brand unto himself, and there's nobody more enthusiastic about announcing than Buffer is. Nobody gets more into it than he does. But I did find it funny, because they had the little video package, and he was saying that he treats every night like it's his first night. And I was thinking, I think you know where I'm going, but I was sitting here thinking to myself, if I was going to be doing this job for my first night, I think I would make sure that I'm pronouncing the names correctly, something that Buffer struggles with. So dude, seriously, no, you do not treat every night like it is your first night. Bullcrap.
Yeah. I don't think they introduced. Did they? I don't think. I think they were just saying congratulations on 30 years. I don't think he was getting put in the UFC Hall of Fame.
Is that it? Wasn't
Hall of Fame? I wrote that down as like, dude, seriously, really? Like, why would you do that and not put him in the UFC Hall of Fame?
They should if they're not. It was just an announcement for 30 years.
30 years, which is cool.
No, I agree, but he should be going in. Whatever. Like I said, I mean, I've got my gripes with Buff, but despite those gripes, he deserves it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. So I'm definitely a Bruce Buffer hater, no doubt. Like me and Ben both are. What I would say Bruce Buffer does great, better than anybody. He can hype the big fight.
Yes.
The big pay-per-view, whatever the big, Holloway versus Oliveira coming up, he'll have that down. He'll get the excitement. He can draw the crowd in. Yes. It's the little details of the other stuff he struggles. Listen, I've been butchering dudes' names tonight.
You're not paid to do that, though.
Well, a little bit, but yes, not their not my main job. It is not my only job. My only job is not to say their names right. He should be like John Anik.
Yes,
but the worst thing is, even if you want to give him a pass, because this time you can memorize names. You can sometimes you get it wrong. You can say it over and over again. Fine, I'll even give him a pass for that. It's the other things like doing a majority draw and reading the cards wrong so you don't build up the suspense and that it's a majority draw. It's the not saving, if one guy is, if it's a close fight, but one scorecard's 30-27, like a 30-27 can still be a close fight.
Agreed.
But don't read that one last. So everyone goes like, if say Holloway and Oliver's a 3-round fight and Holloway clearly wins the first round. There's no doubt he wins the first round. And the second and third round are very close. So if Oliveira wins the second and third round, he's got the fight.
Yeah.
2 judges go 29-28. 1 judge goes 30-27. You have to read the 30-27 for Holloway first.
Agreed.
And then the 29-28 for Oliveira. And then the 29-28. And then we build up, oh, man, how'd it go? But if you go 29-28 Oliveira, 29-28 Holloway, and then you go, and 30-27, we all go, oh, Holloway won.
We know who it is.
At least anybody with a brain goes, oh, Holloway won.
Yep.
Like, just little things like that. Like, did you been doing it for 30 years? You ever learned that? But, anyways. You have any other dudes seriously? I actually had that Bruce Buffer as a dude seriously, so. All right, I'll give you a couple dudes seriously. How bad was the 30th season of Tough if Juliana Miller won it? Dude, seriously.
I will give her credit. She looked better tonight than she has before. I will give her that. But I still maintain. No, exactly. I'll still maintain that. Yeah, that was a bad season, a very bad season.
Ode Osborne raising his hand at when the bell rang, like he won after he just clearly lost 3 rounds and easily clearly lost 3 rounds in a row. Dude, seriously. I mean, I know that's been done so many times, but it's still funny. Costa was incredible tonight.
Yes.
But throwing your cup into the crowd, dude, seriously. There's not a person in the arena that wants your cup.
No,
First of all,
dude, he signed it. He signed it.
I don't care. There's nobody who wants a signed Costa cup.
Somebody does.
No, that's
because
gross.
they got Costa to sign him for him.
That's gross.
I agree. I wouldn't either, but somebody does.
All right. Sean Strickland was also awesome tonight.
Yes.
But Sean Strickland saying that Hernandez is the only fighter in the top 10 in the division that is a grappler. Did you forget about the championship off, dude? Seriously? And the last one, I'm going to do a positive. I should have said dude seriously for last, but I'm going to do a positive dude seriously.
Cool.
My man John Anik giving Sherdog.com some love. Yes. Dude, seriously, nice job. Way to go. I'm sorry, I don't know who wrote the article, but I'm going to say my man Dayne wrote the article that he was reading. So
probably not. It wasn't the most pro UFC article this week. So
okay. Well, take credit anyways. All right, let's go to the Bulls and the Bears. The Bulls and the Bears are a stock market reference. You want to be on the Bulls list. You do not want to be on the Bears list. We do it hockey style, stars of the night, 3, 2, 1. All right. You want to do Bulls or you want to do Bears?
Let's end on a positive note. So we'll start with the Bears.
Okay. Let's start with the Bears. So these are the lists you do not want to be on. I'm going to go first. Is that okay?
Great.
All right. My number 3 Bear. Ante Dela. This guy came in the UFC, looked fantastic in his UFC debut, but has since lost, to good competition, for heavyweight standards. But he's now lost 2 in a row, lost all that buzz, losing to who did he lose to? He lost to the Cuban guy. What's his name? What's this guy? He keeps winning.
Cortez Acosta.
Costa, and then he lost to Sergey Spivak. But he's on a 2-fight losing streak. Times are better for Dela.
Dude, he needs to tap into the power of that third nipple.
My number 2, I'm putting 2 guys together, and I'm going to use this as like staples of or previous staples of rankings, like lower level guys, but guys who've been ranked for a long time. And I'm looking at Dan Ige and Jeff Neal. Ige has lost 8 out of his last 12 fights. My man Jeff Neal has lost 4 out of his last 5. Time has been much better for these veterans who at one time was kind of like on the outskirt of contendership.
Yeah.
But my number 1, I already said it. It was way low on the prelims, but when you get spanked by Jordan Levitt, my man Devalier, how do you say his name? Dude, I can't say his name right. Dude, seriously, who do you got? I'm throwing dude seriously. That's how bad it was. He's a bear. What do you got?
So you took Danny Gay from me. So anyway, number 2, Paramount Era. They are announcing some crap fights as headliners. Do I think Moicano versus Chris Duncan is a bad fight? No. But do I think that it should be headlining a fight night? Hell no. Especially if that's option A. I'll give some leeway if fights are falling off the card and it's like, well, this is what we've got left. Okay, you get some leeway there. This being plan A is bullshit. UFC is not presenting their best foot forward with regards to the fight night. So the Paramount Era, not off to the best start. I know that there's various reasons for
why they care about boxing more right now than anything.
Yeah, and I know that the people are saying, well, there's the White House card and stuff like that, and I think that there is some truth to that. But I think, come on, this is bullshit. I
think the White House card is going to. I'm really not trying to get excited for the White House card. I think it's going to be a big disappointment. I think it's not going to be anywhere. I think it's going to have that UFC 300 where they might have a lot of names on it, but it's going to be like, I don't know, Jamal Hill headlining the card. I'm not saying he's headlining the White House, but you get my reference.
Yeah, but the other headliner that was announced earlier this week. The Mike Malott and Gilbert Burns. Not a headliner. That's bullshit. So anyway, I think the Paramount era is a major bear right now. UFC needs to step it up. And biggest bear of the night, Ninja Kitty's been all over it. Isaac Dulgarian. I think there were some people who were probably on the fence whether or not he threw the fight. The way that things went for Yadier Del Valle tonight, I don't think there's any doubters that Dulgarian threw that fight, especially given that Dulgarian is a lauded wrestler, and the fact that he threw that 100%. He is the biggest bear of the night as far as I'm concerned.
All right, let's go to the Bulls. This is the list you want to be on. I'm gonna let you kick it off. You're on a roll. Keep it going.
All righty. Number 3 for me, Uros Medic. Dude, that was a hell of a performance against Jeff Neal. I know that there's a lot of people who think Neal is shot. Maybe he is, but regardless, Medic looked awesome. He's going to get a big boost as far as his profile at this point. So as far as I'm concerned, Uros Medic is a massive bull tonight. Number 2, I am giving this to a pair of OGs. This is going to kind of come out of left field, but Robbie Lawler and Max Holloway. And the reason why I'm saying that they are bulls is because there are a lot of people who are trying to imitate them left and right, or stuff like that. And it comes across as so forced. It comes across as everybody trying to act like a badass as opposed to just being a badass. Lawler and Holloway did what they did, not to impress anybody, not trying to get fans. They were just badasses. Yes. They were not trying to impress everybody.
No.
Fighters, stop it. Stop pointing to the ground.
The best part about Max Holloway in the Justin Gaethje one, like you're saying he wasn't acting like a badass. He wasn't saying, look at me, look how tough I am. He was respecting Gaethje and giving him his chance. It was completely opposite what everyone else is doing. Everyone else is doing, look how tough, I'm willing to swing it out. He's like, no, man, like, Gaethje, you're the man. I'm going to give you one chance. Knock me out.
Yeah.
This one, but Max Holloway is a once in a lifetime dude.
And same with Lawler.
Same with Lawler, yeah.
No, that's my point. Everybody's trying to impersonate them, imitate them.
Yeah.
No, be you. Like another all-time badass has almost a completely different type of attitude from those two guys. George St. Pierre. He is the ultimate nice guy. But if you're going to tell me he is not a badass, shove it up your ass. GSP is a badass.
Let me give you one real quick of Robbie Lawler. I brought this up with Ben a million times. You're an old school guy. Do you remember when Robbie Lawler lost to Pete Spratt and
dislocated hip?
Yeah, and people said he quit and he was a front runner and he wasn't tough and he wasn't made for. Think about that narrative about Robbie freaking Lawler. That was the narrative about Robbie Lawler when he was like 21 years old or whatever he was. Anyway, because he had that one bad loss to a guy that he should never lost to early in his career. And people categorize him as like, not that tough, not mentally tough or something crazy. How crazy is that? Hey, think about it. Remember when Charles Oliveira lost against Max Holloway and they were saying the same shit about him?
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Anyways, continue.
But no, anyway, that came up just because I'm watching Zach Reese and Michelle Pehe, they're doing the pointing down stuff. And I'm just like, guys, stop. You are not the badasses. Just be you, figure out who you are, be you, and we will have so much more respect for you. Stop doing that. And the biggest bull of the night that I have, Jocelyn Edwards. Holy shit, that slam was awesome. She had Nora Cornell's a tough woman. She had Cornell bowled over, crying. I'm not going to say like a baby, but you could tell she was in some serious pain. Jocelyn Edwards just totally ramped up her level of violence, and that's saying something because she was on Sherdog's All Violence team last year. So Jocelyn Edwards, major bull.
Yeah, I think she broke her shoulder or dislocated her shoulder or broke her collarbone or something. It like when she was in a lot of pain. All right, I'll give you 3. Yeah, I'll give you 3 more. he should be 3-1 in the UFC. He's only 2-2, but he's looked sensational. And in his wins, he's looked sensational. And that's Carlos Leal. To me, this guy's stock going up. What do they call it? I know they say fading when you go against. So what do you call when you always pick a guy? What's that called? I'm going with whatever. I'm riding this guy, whatever it is. I'm riding. He looks great. My number 2, 4 wins in a row, a quiet 4 wins in a row at welterweight, but he's 4-0. Puna Soriano. Like he was a guy, 4 fights ago, was no one expected to do it wrong. He was kind of like, all right, he's a little desperate, trying to hang on to his UFC career. And give him a good shot. Give him a fight against someone good. And my number 1, Melky Quizel Costa, getting 6 wins in a row, being the first guy to ever stop Danny Gay. Dude, his stock is absolutely rising. Good for my man Melky. Let's do the cut list. I got a lot for the cut list.
Really?
I got 4 people for the cut list. How many do you have?
I've got 2 for sure, and I'm sure that I could be talked into it on a couple more. So,
all right. So, the way the cut list works, if both me and Dayne have the same name on our list, we allow the UFC to get rid of this person and make room for others. If one of us don't have them on the name, we save them. I'll give you my first name.
Yep.
I'm going with Juliana Miller. I know she won the Ultimate Fighter. She's 1-3 over the last 4 fights. She has 1 win in 4 years. I'm getting rid of Miller. Are you saving Miller after you said she looked okay tonight? Or looked better?
That's the reason why I'm not 100% sure. Like I said, I could be talked into it totally, because I think that she still has some potential, but at the same time, I'll be the first to admit she's not great.
You're saving Juliana Miller. All right, you already saved one. You said that this guy should move up to middleweight, and I said I wouldn't give him the opportunity, and that's Phil Rowe. He's lost 6 out of his last 8 fights. I am cutting the Fresh Prince, Phil Rowe. Are you with me?
He can try 185 in the LFA.
Okay, there you go. So Phil Rowe has been cut. Yes. All right. So I have 2 more names on the list. You have 1 name on your list. Give me your 1 name.
O'Day Osborne.
Okay, he's lost 6 out of his last 10 fights.
Yes.
His fights are never really boring or anything like that, but man, you got to win too.
Yes, exactly. So not everybody's Sam Alvey.
The name you did save is Luis Garule, who's lost 3 in a row. You saved him. I'm okay with that. He lost, but he was somewhat entertaining. So I'll let it go.
He kind of reminds me of Jalga Jamu. Okay, now I'm struggling with the name. Jalgas Jamugala. I can't say it right now. Anyway,
right,
the guy with the funky haircut.
What a casual. What a casual. This guy.
Jamugala. There we go. I got it out.
You are an absolute casual if you can't say that name right. Get this guy out of here. All right. I have the awards. Do you know what the awards are?
I do not.
Okay. There is 4 bonuses. There is not a fight of the night. If you were giving 1 fight of the night, what would you give it to?
I agree with you. I would have gone with Leal and Njokuani.
Yeah, total. But they did not. So there's 4. And the 4 that is on the list,
I think I know 3 of them for sure.
I'm okay with the 4. I gave the award to one other person, but I'm okay with the 4. Give me who you would give the award to, and then I'll tell you how many you got right. Don't guess what the UFC did, but just give me who. If you were giving out, what would you do?
Well, in my mind, I think 3 of them are obvious, which is why I say that I think I know 3 of them. I think Medic, Costa, and Edwards are the obvious ones.
Okay.
Beyond that,
Medic and Costa is obvious. They both got awards. Our girl Jocelyn Edwards did not get an award.
Bullshit.
I think you'll give the award. You're definitely gonna give the award to one of these 2 people. But yeah, Jocelyn Edwards, man, they do not like our girl Jocelyn. She didn't miss weight or anything like that. Like,
Not this
right?
time.
No, okay. Yeah, she even made weight. Come on,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, no, dude, she left her opponent crying. How does that not deserve an award?
I don't know. They hate the women. Showing us.
Oh, so Sean Strickland's on their board, huh?
Sean Strickland is on their board. But the other guy, so I would have given Edwards over Strickland. The other guy would have given, even though, no, you know what? No, actually, I take that back. I'm going to give it to Strickland, and I'm going to give it to Edwards because of his extra punches. I'm not giving it to Jacoby Smith.
That's what I was about to say.
They gave it to
Smith
Smith,
was the other one.
but those extra punches, to me, I'm not giving it to him.
Oh.
So, anyways, that's who they gave their awards to. They're okay. I'm good enough. I just think
no, I don't hate him. I don't hate him either, but I thought Edwards was obvious. So
yeah, sometimes they don't like her. What was your overall grade for the card?
Oh boy. It was a rough start. I would say through the first 11 fights, I would say only Leal and Njukwani was really above average in terms of quality. No, I got to give Edwards and Cornell some credit there too, just because Edwards got ultra violent there. But I feel like it ended well, and you got to put more weight towards the end of the card than you do at the beginning. So I'll give it about a B-.
Yeah. To me, the prelims was such ass, and the same thing you said. The main card was great. I'm gonna give it like a C, just a plain C. Like I'm feeling much better. I mean, the prelims was it just sounded like it was dragging. I felt like I could have drove to Houston by the time those prelims ended. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, good Lord, it was just decision after decision after decision. And with Jocelyn Edwards the only one getting the finish, I'm like, man, but she's a killer. All right, the hardest question always is what is your listener? I know I hate picking it, but who's your listener? There's some really good people. People are awesome tonight.
Yes. There were a lot of the regulars. There were some names that I'm not quite as familiar with. I don't think I've given it to Paul Midgley, so I'll go with Paul Midgley tonight.
Yeah, Paul Midgley is not a fan of Zachary Reese.
Yeah, I did find that funny.
And then cut Harold to save his life. That was pretty funny. I'm gonna go all the way to the beginning. I think he might have jumped out late, but he was great early. I'm gonna go with Big Mac Phil, who was awesome early. I mean, some of the Ninja Kitties in your posts.
Ninja Kitty's always here. Yeah. Love Ninja Kitty.
And you know, these guys can. Dev obviously is not allowed to win. So anyways, guys, there you have it. We have covered UFC Houston as deep as you possibly can go. I know Ben's on scene. He's probably exhausted. I know those nights when you're doing that, and this week is really tough. But we will be back with a preview. UFC Moreno versus Kavanaugh. I actually haven't talked to Ben. I don't know if he was planning on skipping it after. He's usually really committed. I'm the one that is harder to get, but I will at least be doing my side. I'm assuming Ben is doing his side. So anyways, if you're in the Northeast, I know we're getting hit with a big snowstorm. Please be safe. Dayne, you do wonderful work here at Sherdog. We're so lucky to have you. Tell me what you have on the docket this week. What should everyone look for?
I have a weekly article that comes out. I do not have the topic on it yet. Okay. I will be consulting with Mike on that, but I've got some ideas floating around.
Is that what you do? You do every kind of week? You guys decide together, or do you kind of have free reign?
I usually have free reign. He's rejected some ideas if I'm too far out there or something like that, which it's his prerogative. It's his prerogative. But yeah,
how about this? How about you? I can I make a suggestion? Being a historian, everyone's focused on the UFC heavyweight division. Argue why it's not the worst it's ever been, and then go with our Justin Eilers era.
The article I did this past week was talking about how the UFC has kind of shot themselves in the foot a little bit with letting a lot of the talent go away. But We'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
I don't know if I can get away with doing heavyweight division 2 weeks in a row.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. So, all right, guys, make sure you check out that article. Thank you guys for listening. We'll be back next week.